So, my dear friends, my name is Dr. Jatin Kumar Raychaudhuri, and today's topic of discussion is endometriosis. I am highly indebted to the textbook of Berek and Novak's Gynecology, Williams Gynecology, Clinical Gynecologic Endocrinology and Infertility, ACOG and RCOG journals. Medical treatment of endometriosis. Now, empirical treatment in endometriosis may be considered in the absence of a definitive diagnosis, when a pain is suggestive of endometriosis and other possible causes are excluded. Treatment includes analgesics, progestins, and oral contraceptive pills. For primary dysmenorrhea, some women with primary dysmenorrhea probably have endometriosis. NSAIDs like naproxen are effective treatment. Selective COX-2 inhibitor like rofecoxib are not used nowadays. Coproxamol, that means paracetamol 650 mg and dextropropoxifen 65 mg is also effective, and paracetamol 1000 mg is more effective than 500 mg. Oral contraceptives. They effectively treat dysmenorrhea. Low-dose OC containing 20 microgram ethinyl estradiol and 100 microgram levonorgestrel is also effective, and it is better suited in adolescent girls. Long-term safety is established in low-risk women. To control dysmenorrhea, they may be used continuously or one pill-free week per 3 cycles to reduce the number of periods or avoid them altogether. Non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. As endometriosis is a chronic inflammatory disease, so NSAIDs appear to be an effective drug for pain relief. Endometriosis associated pain is nociceptive, and persistent nociceptive pain causes central sensitization. NSAIDs have local anti-nociceptive effect, reduced central sensitization, as well as anti-inflammatory effect. All help in relief of pain. However, NSAIDs can cause gastric ulceration, and NSAIDs also inhibit ovulation, as prostaglandins are responsible for rupture of follicle, hence not given at the time of ovulation. Hormonal treatment for endometriosis. Estrogen is responsible for growth of endometriosis, hence hormonal treatment is targeted to suppress estrogen synthesis, resulting atrophy of the endometrial implants or interrupting the cycle of stimulation and bleeding. Ectopic endometrium shows histological and biochemical difference from the normal endometrium by the glandular activity, that means proliferative and secretory, enzymatic activity like aromatase, 17-beta-hydroxysteroid dehydrogenase, and the steroid receptor level including estrogen, progestin and androgen receptors. Now, during the course of treatment, estrogen withdrawal results in cellular inactivation and symptom relief, but no disappearance, making it vulnerable for reappearance after discontinuation of the treatment. Suppression of the ovarian function for 6 months reduce the pain of endometriosis, and the options available are combined OCs, danazol, medroxyprogesterone acetate, gestrinone and GnRH agonists. All are more or less equally effective, but cost and side effects differ. A new generation of aromatase inhibitors, oral GnRH antagonists, estrogen receptor modulator and progesterone antagonists offer newer hormonal treatment options. Androgens are not used nowadays because of their side effects and risk of any accidental fetal exposure if conception occurs. Rectovaginal endometriosis with a difficult surgery may be treated by hormonal therapy for a prolonged period utilizing the vaginal danazol, GnRH agonist, progestin and combined OCs either vaginally, transdermally or orally. The use of cyclic OCs may provide prophylaxis against the development or recurrence of endometriosis. The estrogenic component may initially stimulate the proliferation of endometrium, but ultimately the reduced flow and progesterone effect helps control endometriosis. Low-dose cyclic OC is also effective, however trial is limited. In a 6-month trial between oral contraceptives and GnRH agonist regarding endometriosis associated pain, there is no evidence of a significant difference in outcomes. Moreover, oral contraceptive is cheap with lower incidence of side effects. Endometriosis can also be treated with continuous low-dose monophasic oral contraceptives in the form of one pill daily for 6 to 12 months. The resultant amenorrhea would decrease the risk of disease progression by reducing the retrograde menstruation as well as the bleeding from the existing endometriotic implants. In addition, the continuous OC will induce pseudopregnancy, a dynamic endometrium with decidualization followed by necrobiosis and absorption. However, the endometrial implants survive the induced atrophy and reactivate after treatment. Any low-dose oral contraceptives containing 20 to 30 microgram of ethinyl estradiol can be used. In an RCT of women with recurrent moderate to severe pain after unsuccessful conservative surgery for symptomatic rectovaginal endometriosis, continuous OC resulted in substantial reduction of dysmenorrhea, deep dyspareunia and dysphagia. In a trial between contraceptive vaginal ring with 15 microgram of ethinyl estradiol and 120 microgram of etonogestrel and transdermal patch containing 20 microgram of ethinyl estradiol and 150 microgram of norelgestromin for recurrent moderate to severe pain after conservative treatment of endometriosis, vaginal ring gives comparatively better result than the transdermal patch. Progestins. Progestins act on the endometriotic tissue by causing decidualization and atrophy, and it is as effective as danazol and GnRH agonist with lower cost and side effect, and so may be considered as the first choice for the treatment of endometriosis. Medroxyprogesterone acetate is the most studied agent. Dionagest is also a recent popular drug. Megestrol acetate, dihydrogesterone and linestrol are other progestins that may be used for endometriosis. Medroxyprogesterone acetate, it is effective in endometriosis. The starting dose is 30 mg per day. The dose may be increased to 50 mg per day depending on the clinical response and bleeding pattern. But such high dose of MPA is not preferred. Instead, dipomedroxyprogesterone 150 mg every 3 months is a better choice. It is almost as effective as oral contraceptives, danazol and GnRH agonist. Compared to GnRH agonist, it has less impact on bone mineral density and other hypoestrogenic effects, but more bleeding episodes are present. So, supplementation of estradiol validate for few days help controlling these bleeding episodes. However, it is not indicated in infertile patients as it induces profound amenorrhea and anovulation after discontinuation of the therapy. Dionagest. Currently it is a popular drug. It is a 19-nortestosterone derivative with high selectivity for progesterone receptors. Now, Dionagest in a 2 mg daily dose gives almost equivalent result in pain relief as GnRH agonist. It is safe and tolerable with less bone loss and hot flashes, but with more irregular bleeding. Long-term treatment with Dionagest reduces recurrence after excision of endometriosis. Intrauterine progestins. The levonorgestrel iodine Mirena with 52 mg of LNG for 5 years releases 20 microgram of levonorgestrel per day. It is effective in endometriosis associated pain and also reduces the risk of recurrence after conservative surgery. It causes endometrial glandular decidualization and atrophy. 1 year treatment results reduction of dysmenorrhea, pelvic pain and dyspareunia. and rectovaginal endometriotic nodule. Nearly 90% loss of menstrual flow in 1 year, and patient satisfaction is also very good. Progesterone antagonists and the selective progesterone receptor modulators, they are also effective in endometriosis. They have anti-proliferative effect on the endometrium without causing any hypoestrogenism and bone loss. 4 such drugs are approved by FDA: mifepristone, gestrinone, ulipristal acetate, and asoprisnil. There is little data about the use of ulipristal acetate and asoprisnil in endometriosis. Mifepristone and gestrinone may be tried. Mifepristone, it is a potent antiprogestogen with direct inhibitory effect on the human endometrial cells. It reduces dysmenorrhea and dyspareunia. Side effect includes amenorrhea and hot flash. Higher dose has anti-glucocorticoid action. It is used as 10 to 25 mg dose daily for 3 to 6 months. Gestrinone. It is a 19-nortestosterone derivative which acts centrally and peripherally to produce the following effects: androgenic effect, antiprogestogenic effect, antiestrogenic effect, and antigonadotrophic effect. It causes cellular inactivation and degradation of the endometriotic implants, but not their disappearance. Amenorrhea is a common and dose dependent, and it has a long half-life, and the usual dose is 2.5 mg orally twice a week. A 24-week course shows better effect on the bone mass. It is as effective as GnRH with fewer side effects, and its effect and side effect matches the danazol. Pregnancy is contraindicated because of its androgenic effect on the fetus. Danazol. Multiple effects of danazol includes suppression of gonadotropins, inhibition of steroidogenesis, direct effect on endometrial receptors, and immunologic attenuation. All these effects ultimately produce high androgen and low estrogen state. The estrogen level reaches the early follicular to the post-menopausal range, causing amenorrhea and endometrial atrophy. The immunologic effect of danazol includes effect on complement, peripheral lymphocytes, and inhibition of IL-1 and TNF production. And these effects help in remission of endometriosis and some other autoimmune diseases. Treatment started with a dose of 400 mg daily, that means 200 mg BD, and increased if necessary to achieve amenorrhea and symptom relief. Danazol, once very popular drug, is relatively less used nowadays because of the significant adverse effects related to the androgenic and hypoestrogenic properties. Most common are weight gain, fluid retention, acne, hirsutism, hot flash, atrophic vaginitis, reduced breast size, and reduced libido. Deepening of voice is a potential non-reversible side effect. Danazol is contraindicated in patients with liver disease as it is metabolized in the liver. Similarly, it is contraindicated in hypertension, congestive heart failure, and impaired renal function as it causes fluid retention. It is contraindicated in pregnancy because of androgenic effect on fetus. Thank you for your patient watching. If you like the video, please subscribe. Namaste.